Hey everyone, Richard Bass here from Thriving with Richard Bass. Today we're talking about one of the most powerful skills you can teach your child, recognizing the early warning signs of big emotions before they escalate into meltdowns or behavioral outbursts. As a special education teacher for over a decade and author of several parenting books, I've seen this skill transform how children navigate their emotional world. When children can identify their emotions early, they have options. When they wait until they're completely overwhelmed, their thinking brain goes offline and they lose access to all their coping strategies. In the next 10 minutes, I'll show you how to help your child become their own emotional detective, share specific techniques that work for different ages, and give you practical tools you can start using today. This isn't about preventing all big emotions, it's about giving your child the power to recognize and respond to their feelings before they become overwhelming. Let's start with understanding what we mean by early warning signs. Every child has a unique pattern of physical, emotional, and behavioral signals that appear before they reach their breaking point. Think of it like a traffic light system. Green means calm and regulated. Yellow means caution, emotions are building. And red means overwhelmed and dysregulated. The goal is to help children recognize when they're moving from green to yellow so they can use coping strategies before hitting red. When children are in the red zone, their thinking brain is offline and they can't access the skills we've taught them. Let me share an example from my classroom. I had a student named Emma who would have explosive outbursts seemingly out of nowhere. Teachers would say she went from 0 to 60 in seconds. But when I started paying closer attention, I noticed a clear pattern. About 10 minutes before each outburst, Emma would start tapping her pencil more rapidly. Then she'd begin fidgeting with her hair. Her voice would get slightly higher and faster. Finally, she'd start looking around the room repeatedly instead of focusing on her work. Once we identified these warning signs, everything changed. I taught Emma to recognize these signals in herself. We created a simple plan. When she noticed the pencil tapping, she could take 3 deep breaths. If she caught herself playing with her hair, she could ask for a 2-minute movement break. By recognizing her yellow zone signals, Emma could prevent most of her red zone meltdowns. The key is that different children have different warning signs. Some get physical symptoms like tense shoulders, clenched fists, or changes in breathing. Others show emotional signs like increased sensitivity, irritability, or sudden mood changes. Many children display behavioral changes like becoming more talkative or completely quiet, seeking more attention, or having trouble focusing. Let's talk about how to teach this skill to children of different ages. For toddlers and preschoolers, ages 2 to 5, we keep it very simple. Use basic body awareness language like, "I notice your hands are in tight fists," or "Your voice is getting louder." Create simple visual supports like an emotion thermometer with happy, worried, and angry faces. Narrate what you observe. "Your body looks tense. I wonder if you're feeling frustrated." At this age, you're doing most of the noticing for them, but you're building their emotional vocabulary and body awareness. Don't expect them to self-identify consistently yet. Here's a real example. 4-year-old Marcus would always have meltdowns during transitions. I started noticing that about 5 minutes before each transition, he began moving more slowly and his shoulders would slump. I began saying, "Marcus, I notice your body looks tired. Transitions are coming up soon. Would you like to take some deep breaths with me to get ready?" This simple awareness and support prevented most of his transition meltdowns. For early elementary children, ages 6 to 8, you can introduce more sophisticated concepts. Teach them about the zones of regulation. Green zone means calm and ready to learn. Yellow zone means frustrated or excited but still able to think. Red zone means overwhelmed and not thinking clearly. Create a feelings check-in routine. Several times a day, ask, "What zone are you in right now?" Help them notice physical sensations. Where do you feel anger in your body? What does worry feel like? I worked with a 7-year-old named Sophia who got overwhelmed during math time. We discovered that her early warning signs included her leg bouncing under the desk, erasing more frequently, and sighing. Once Sophia could identify these signals, she learned to raise her hand for a quick break or use a fidget tool before her frustration escalated. For tweens and teens, ages 9 and up, you can have more complex conversations about emotional patterns and triggers. Help them identify not just the physical signs, but also thought patterns that indicate rising emotions. Teach them about the connection between thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations. Encourage them to track their emotional patterns. They might notice they're more sensitive on hungry days, after social conflicts, or during certain times of the month. This self-awareness is incredibly empowering. Here's a powerful technique I use with older children. I call it the STOP method. S stands for stop and notice what's happening. T is take a breath. O is observe what you're feeling in your body and mind. P is plan your next step. 15-year-old Jake used this when he noticed he was getting frustrated during homework. He'd stop, take a breath, observe that his jaw was clenched and he was thinking, "This is impossible," then plan to take a 5-minute break before continuing. Now let's talk about specific strategies for teaching emotional awareness. First, become an emotion detective yourself. Start noticing and gently narrating your child's patterns. I've noticed that when you're getting overwhelmed, your voice gets quieter. Or, it seems like when you're excited, you talk much faster. This external awareness helps them develop internal awareness. Second, use feeling check-ins regularly, not just when there's a problem, but throughout normal days. How's your energy level right now? Or, what's your frustration level about homework today? Make emotional awareness a normal part of conversation. Third, create visual supports. Use emotion charts, body maps showing where feelings live, or simple rating scales. Many children are visual learners, and these tools make abstract concepts concrete. Fourth, practice during calm moments. Don't wait for emotional crises to teach these skills. When your child is regulated, talk about what that feels like. Notice how your shoulders feel relaxed right now, or your breathing is nice and slow when you're calm. Fifth, model emotional awareness yourself. Say things like, "I notice I'm feeling frustrated right now. My jaw is getting tight," or "I can feel my excitement building because my heart is beating faster." Children learn more from what we model than what we teach. Let me share a family example. The Johnson family implemented daily emotion check-ins at dinner. Each person shared their high and low of the day, what zone they were in most often, and one thing they noticed about their emotions. Their 8-year-old daughter started saying things like, "I was in yellow zone before my spelling test because my stomach felt fluttery, but I used my breathing and it helped." Here are some common challenges families face when teaching emotional awareness. Challenge 1. My child says they don't know how they feel. This is very common, especially for children who haven't developed emotional vocabulary yet. Start with basic categories like good, bad, or okay. Use feeling faces or ask them to choose between two options. Are you feeling more frustrated or more sad? Challenge 2. My child resists talking about emotions. Don't force it. Use indirect approaches like reading books about emotions, commenting on characters' feelings in movies, or using art and play to explore emotions. Some children express emotions better through movement, drawing, or storytelling than through direct conversation. Challenge 3. The warning signs are too subtle. Start with the most obvious signals and gradually help them notice more subtle ones. It's better to catch emotions at 70% than to miss them entirely trying to catch them at 20%. Challenge 4. My child recognizes the signs but still melts down. Recognition is the first step, but it takes time to develop the ability to use coping strategies consistently. Celebrate the awareness even if they can't always act on it yet. You're building neural pathways that will strengthen over time. Let's talk about creating an early warning system for your family. Sit down together and make a list of each family member's warning signs. What does frustrated look like for each person? How about overwhelmed, excited, or sad? Create family signals. Maybe when someone notices they're moving into yellow zone, they can say, "I need 5 minutes," or hold up a yellow card. This gives them permission to take space before emotions escalate. Develop a family coping strategy menu. List different techniques like deep breathing, going for a walk, listening to music, talking to someone, or doing jumping jacks. When someone recognizes their warning signs, they can choose from the menu. Here's something really important. Teach children that all emotions are normal and acceptable, but we need to choose helpful responses. The goal isn't to prevent anger, sadness, or frustration. The goal is to recognize these emotions early so we can respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. I want to address children with additional challenges like ADHD, autism, or anxiety. These children often have more intense emotions or different warning signs. They might need more explicit teaching, more visual supports, or different strategies. Work with their unique nervous system rather than against it. For children with ADH, movement-based warning signs and coping strategies often work well. For children with autism, visual supports and routine check-ins can be helpful. For children with anxiety, teaching the physical signs of worry and relaxation techniques is crucial. Remember that this is a skill that develops over time. Young children might only recognize emotions after they've escalated. School-age children can start catching them in the middle. Teenagers can begin to identify early warning signs and choose their responses. Don't expect perfection. Even adults struggle with emotional awareness sometimes. Celebrate small improvements and remember that you're building a foundation for lifelong emotional intelligence. Here are some practical tools you can implement starting today. Create an emotion check-in chart for your refrigerator. Each family member can move their magnet to show what zone they're in throughout the day. Teach the body scan technique. Have your child start at their head and notice any tension, then move down through their body. This builds physical awareness of emotional states. Use the scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrated are you feeling right now? This gives children language for intensity levels. Practice the pause. When you notice your child's warning signs, say, "Let's pause for a moment. What do you notice in your body right now?" This builds the habit of checking in during emotional moments. Read books about emotions together. There are wonderful children's books that explore different feelings and coping strategies. Use these as conversation starters about emotional awareness. Remember, you're not trying to create emotionally perfect children. You're helping them develop the self-awareness and tools they'll need to navigate their emotional world throughout their lives. When children can recognize their emotions early, they feel more in control of their experiences. They develop confidence in their ability to handle difficult feelings, and they're less likely to be overwhelmed by emotions that feel like they came out of nowhere. This skill also strengthens your relationship with your child. When they can communicate their emotional state, you can offer appropriate support. When they can manage their emotions more effectively, there are fewer conflicts and more opportunities for connection. That's all for today. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to Thriving with Richard Bass. Drop a comment below sharing your experiences. What early warning signs have you noticed in your child? What strategies have worked for building emotional awareness in your family? I read every comment and often use your questions for future videos. See you in the next video.